Because with Imavov, he had to worry about the wrestling. You ain't really got to worry about the wrestling from Neil, not in the beginning, because Neil don't start wrestling until you get tired.
First off, like this video and subscribe.
Now let's go look at the Gilbert Burns. Let's see what they feel about this one.
I mean, it's a mismatch, so I mean...
It's a mismatch, and this is a short notice. You know, one thing that I find odd about Neil Magny, he could be coming off so many losses, and then he can win one fight, and you could get tricked into thinking that he's on this big win streak, but he's really not. His last few losses came to Santiago, Michael Chiesa, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. That ain't bad. He beat Jing Liang Lee, Robbie Lawler,
That's a big one right there.
Jeff Neal, even though he did not win that fight. Max Griffin, even though he didn't win that fight. You know, Neil has this odd way of winning fights that he ain't supposed to win. I don't think he won the Jeff Neal fight. I think it was 29-28 for Jeff. I don't think he won the Max Griffin fight. Daniel Rodriguez just dropped the ball on that one. So, but it's weird because if you go look at...
Even if you go back, I hate to say this, this was years ago.
I was about to say the same thing.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The Johnny Hendricks fight, Johnny was taking him down, and you end up losing. Hold on, I won.
What about Carlos Condit? And that fight was a long time ago.
Yeah, he destroyed Carlos. He kept on taking him down.
Yeah,
Carlos
doesn't have bad win streak,
Yeah.
that bad lose streak. But then even the Kelvin Gastelum and then Eric Silva, for some reason, Neil's style gives most guys in the division a problem. Like if you're not a top 10 guy, but the thing is, he's fighting somebody who is a top 10. Yeah, but pretty much if you're not in the top 10, if you're not the elite or somebody who could go on to become elite, so essentially Neil has become the gatekeeper, the perennial gatekeeper. When you hear that word, it's so funny because out of all the gatekeepers that we've had in UFC history, Neil Magny is probably the biggest gatekeeper of all time because his name is synonymous with gatekeeper. But it's so precise because there are certain guys that Neil, he can either steamroll certain fighters.
Steamroll? I ain't never seen him steamroll nobody.
Nah, man, it's a few people he made them look bad. He might not have knocked them out or submitted them, but he definitely broke their will to some degree. And then there are certain guys that he can make the fight close enough to whatever reason, the judges score the fight for him because he got the reach advantage. He does this thing where he clinches up with you, but he don't mind his back being up against the cage. But for some reason, the judges scored when his back is against the cage. But it's so crazy because sometimes he's doing it, and then guys who have all this knockout power, who you would think they would be able to knock Neil out, it's like he still their soul, man, just with him having them in the clinch and then throwing the knees with them up against the cage, and then they can't really take him down, but they're not in open space so they can use their striking. It destroys their soul, man. He did that against Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel won that first round, clear. But then something shifted in the second round, and you said he'll taking the second round off. And I started looking at it, and I said, wow, he is taking the second round off. Because it was like he could feel Daniel getting tired. And then the third round, Daniel really couldn't do nothing, and then he just got submitted. I don't think that would happen to Gilbert, but I'm going to say this, man. Gilbert should win, but he got to be very careful.
No, he don't. Gilbert can do whatever he wants to Neil Magny.
But no, this is the thing. We can't look past that reach advantage.
Yes, we can. Good, because everybody has a reach advantage over Gilbert Burns.
I know, but Neil Magny
It's not like he know how to use it. He's not.
But dude, I don't know what you.
He's not Philip Rowe who know how to use that reach.
But dude, that's what I'm saying. Neil has a history of beating people in these decisions that he ain't supposed to win. For some reason, he don't use his reach correctly. Like he is one of the only people who got all this reach, and he want to clinch up and put his back against the cage. But
unfortunately,
it destroys these dudes.
I don't think this fight going 3 rounds, so I don't think this matters.
I know, but
because I was looking at Gilbert Burns fight against Usman. I was like, man, he really almost won the fight. He really almost won the belt.
He really messed up.
So it's like it's different levels, man. And then even the Khamzat fight, he should have won that one. He had moments against Khamzat, and we know what Khamzat would do to Neil Magny.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's different levels. Gilbert, even his last couple of losses, he barely lost.
It's funny you say that because with Imavov, he had to worry about the wrestling. You ain't really got to worry about the wrestling from Neil, not in the beginning, because Neil don't start wrestling until you get tired. Like, he don't really want to strike that much either. He'll use his jab and he'll use his range, front kicks and stuff. But then, once you get tired, he started trying to knock you out of nowhere. You notice that? Like, he'll wait until you get tired, and then he'll start throwing hands. He'll start wrestling. He fights very smart.
And you can't get mad because you had like a brother or somebody doing MMA, you want them to fight like Neil, where he take minimal amount of damage, and he's able to win close fights some kind of way.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, Gilbert is kind of like a bigger, stronger version of RDA.
I'm looking at the people that...
You heard what I said?
Yeah.
Gilbert is a bigger version of RDA. You saw what RDA did to Neil Magny.
If you look at Neil's last 3 fights, Gilbert is the combination of all 3 of these dudes. Now you look at Santiago Ponzinibbio, Michael Chiesa, because he can take him down and work that jiu-jitsu, and then Shavkat Rakhmonov, who can knock you out or submit you and do whatever he wants to you. That's basically Gilbert. My thing is, as long as Gilbert took this fight serious, as long as Gilbert is prepared to get around the range.
I think we overthinking this fight, man. It's different levels for a reason. I think because we talking about Neil Magny. We ain't talking about Santiago or somebody, man. We talking about Neil Magny.
But then we talking about Neil Magny, who some kind of way he be winning these fights. You gotta
understand, 1, 2, 3. He was on 6. Gilbert was on a 6-fight win streak. He lost to Usman when he dropped the ball, and then he lost to Khamzat, which I think he won. So,
and the biggest thing with both of those guys is they have wrestling, which Neil doesn't have. Not unless you get tired. So I would have to pick Gilbert.
Exactly. And then if you could take down Wonderboy the way he did, at the very least, he's going to take down Neil for 3 rounds.
Real talk, he could go out there, get Neil to the ground. But how is he going to take Neil down? Because you don't want to go up against the cage.
How you going to take Neil down? Single leg, double leg, clinch, trip, flip, skip.
Know what I'm saying?
Neil might pull guard and submit himself.
Man, hey, that's another thing. For some reason, Neil got this thing in
like he Paul Craig or something.
Yeah, like he Paul Craig or Charles Oliveira, where he'll pull guard. He pulled guard on Shavkat Rakhmonov, because that was the only guard he had left. There were no other guards. Like,
look for a way out, man.
Nah, he needed some security guards, because there was nothing he could do on the feet, and there was nothing he could do on the ground. So he was like,
the one thing that stands out, Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny. Gilbert don't have nothing to respect in Neil Magny. He can just walk forward and throw the right hand. I can see him danger. I can see him dropping Neil with the right hand and taking it back.
Neil 6'3".
No.
He has 80-inch reach, and Gilbert has 71.
I understand what you're saying, but he's not Wonderboy.
But he got to get his entries. Got to be perfect, because you don't want to go in there and get caught.
But Gilbert's entries is almost. If you look at that, with the exception of the Usman fight, his entries have always been good.
Okay, so do you think he gonna win this fight standing up or on the ground? Like, what do you think he wants to get the fight?
Whatever he want to do.
But I'm saying,
there's so many ways he can win.
Bro, I've watched Neil Magny recently.
It's gonna be smarter to get the fight. He gonna take him down, man. Gilbert gonna take him down and take his back. Because the one fight that stand out is Neil Magny's fight against RDA. That's the one, because Neil sliced him up. Yeah, bro. He didn't take him down. I think Neil.
But that's what I'm asking. How does Gilbert take him down? Because you don't want to play that game out in the open and get caught with something. But if you go up against the cage with Neil, you playing into his
minutes, man.
Hey, I'm rooting for Gilbert, but let's look at let's look. Wins by knockout. Gilbert has 30% of his wins by knockout. Neil has 26%. I'm just mainly looking for anything that's not even, but that stands out.
You know what's not even? Neil has 5 submission losses. That's not even right there. That's not normal.
Okay, let's look at the strikes landed. It's about similar per minute.
Another thing, you want to tell another thing that stood out? Neil reached his peak as a fighter. You want me to tell you how? He just broke the record for most welterweight wins. It's kind of like when Derek Lewis broke the record for knockouts. Okay, what else do you have to fight for? What else? Because Neil ain't never gonna be champion, so he didn't achieve that, bro.
Man, by the end of 2023, I was just playing. I don't see it happening.
Shout out Cotton them boys, man.
Yeah, you're right. It'll never happen. But one thing that you said that I'm gonna end it on this note, from my perspective, that one thing you said that was powerful was Gilbert had a close fight with Khamzat, but then we saw what Khamzat did to Neil Magny. Steamrolled him.
Different levels, man.
Different levels. I gotta go with Gilbert.
Yeah, and just the blatant weakness he has on the ground. At the very least, I'm not saying Gilbert can knock him out, but at the very least, he can hurt him or take him down and submit him, or just take him down for 3 rounds.
And they're in Brazil, so if that fight is any kind of close, they should give it to the hometown kid. Just throwing it out there. Because they in Brazil now, so you know they will do it.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it, they will do it.
Hey, so that'd be a good little parlay. Gilbert Burns and Jessica Andrade. Both about finishing the first round under plan.
I don't know, man. Y'all stay away.